Well, Penny Dix here. It's good to see you again. And this is the second part of the video I did a few days ago, which was introducing narcissism and trying for all of us to get a little better understanding of it. So let's just recap what the story was. We have the story of Narcissus, who is a very, very beautiful, handsome youth. And he is very self-absorbed. His parents are very worried about him because they think he's never going to kind of grow old and be happy because he's too beautiful. We can see how this can start with how parents bring up their children. My little princess, my little prince. And so children from a very young age grow up believing they are, in effect, the center of the universe and the most special, wonderful beings alive. Now, on one level, that's true. And actually, we're all special beings and we're all lovely and beautiful princesses and princes. But it's getting it into balance and it's getting it into perspective. And sadly, unfortunately, what happens, children who do not receive the right parenting, and this is by no means a criticism to parents, because children don't come with a manual of how to bring up your child correctly and with a healthy psychology. We're all struggling in the dark when we bring up our children. We just have to work it out as we go along, as well as try and manage our own lives. So there is no blame in any of this. So what happens is, for the child that is growing up who feels that whatever he does or whatever she does, somehow it doesn't please, maybe it does seem to please mummy and daddy, and she gets that moment of, oh, mummy and daddy think I'm really good at this, mummy and daddy like me. And then somehow it doesn't seem to go through on a deep inner level for that child to really, really believe it. And so they grow up feeling very insecure. They have low self-esteem. You see, this is a really interesting side to narcissism, because all narcissistic people, whatever they may appear on the outside as very confident, happy, successful, you will usually find that inside there is a very, very frightened little child who really doesn't have a very good opinion of themselves at all. And what happens is that gets pushed down into denial, and it gets repressed and just shoved under the carpet so that the person can function at least. And often what happens is it will come out in a very dark way. So with trying to cope, so say we have a chap with, really quite a strong narcissistic persona. It's quite possible that he's not had a very supportive or helpful upbringing. There may have been love, but maybe he had a strict or stern father who kept saying, I expect more of you, do better. And so that boy will grow up thinking, whatever I do, it's never good enough. I just can't seem to get it right. And as he goes through life, his self-confidence will be so battered and so low. But, he may have people telling him, hey, you're a really good looking guy. You're great. And so he will start wearing this in an effort to build his confidence. And it's the same for ladies as well. It's the same for us. If people start to tell us that, well, you are attractive, or you are lovely, or that looks nice, I like it when you do that with your hair, we will grow into that. But at the same time, underneath, we may be thinking, really? Do I really, really feel like that? So with all this going on in the background, we have to remember the basic myth of Narcissus, because Narcissus died. And in a sense, what happens to the person that is wearing a narcissistic persona, their front, is that they die inside. They get locked at a certain point of their psychological development and they can go no further. They get stuck with this in the sense that how can I put it? What happens with Narcissus and Echo? Echo is his girlfriend, and Echo basically follows him around trying to go, "Hi, I'm here. I love you." And he's oblivious to it. He can't hear it. And so there are so many relationships where we have two partners. We have what I would call the male who is the narcissist, and he cannot help it. And actually, narcissists need to be understood, not punished. They really need to be understood. And partnered to him will be his girlfriend, who will be taking on the role of Echo. And Echo will, in this relationship, be honoring and bowing to her narcissistic partner in an effort to somehow get his attention. And of course, the more she does that, the more she also dies inside, because the narcissistic partner is just caught up in his own narcissism of how wonderful he is, and yet on a deep level, he truly doesn't believe it. Now, the interesting thing is, an Echo, of course, just fades into nothingness. And often what happens when I'm seeing clients is that I will see one or other of the partners who, usually the Echo, so you usually see Echo to the person's Narcissus, because they just don't understand what's going on. Why is it that their partner just can't see them? And of course, because the partner can't even see themselves, and because the partner feels so bad inside, so damaged, so awful, in spite of what they may be wearing on the outside. And interestingly, with narcissism, you probably get, and I don't know what the percentage is, but you probably get far more suicides amongst narcissistic men than probably any other range. And possibly also narcissistic women, because the isolation you experience when you are suffering from, in a sense, an undiagnosed, an unknown narcissism is horrendous. So that you can be in a room full of people and you walk in and you've done yourself up to the best of your ability and you've looked in the mirror a million times to check that you're presenting the right image to the world. And yet still inside, you will be feeling insecure, low self-esteem. No one is going to find me interesting. No one is going to listen to me. And it's as if with a narcissistic person, they tend to not be seen because they can't see themselves. So we may see a beautiful young man. We may see a beautiful young woman, but they, in a sense, don't really feel seen. They also don't feel heard, because it's very hard for them to show their real true self, their inner self, how they're really feeling. And this is a great sadness, because they get so caught into this, and it is so difficult for them to let go of the accoutrement that they will wear to bolster up their ego. Because I'm going to bring in the word ego now, because we have to look at all the different aspects of narcissism and where that fits with ego. In a sense, ego, one could say, though I don't have to be right, but for me, I kind of understand it as we need an ego, which is almost like a healthy form of narcissism. You could call it a healthy form of narcissism. It's like, for me to be doing these live videos, as I've said before, if I didn't have some kind of healthy sense of my own narcissism, I couldn't do it at all, because it would be far too terrifying and risky. And the thought of being not seen or not heard or criticized would just be too awful to kind of contemplate. So there has to be a healthy ego in place, which can take constructive criticism. It can take people not liking you, not following you, not watching. That's okay. Nobody is everybody's cup of tea. And, that's absolutely fine. And I think this is the problem, or one of the problems for a lot of the narcissistic sort of persona people that suffer with it, is that they just don't have that. So what happens when we're living with someone's narcissism? Well, as I've said before, we have the loneliness and the isolation of the partner, of the echo to the person that is suffering from narcissism. And often the narcissism gets projected back and forward. So Echo will say it's his narcissism, and the narcissistic partner will say it's her narcissism. And that brings us into looking at what's happened in the last, say, 20 years with the selfie generation. Since we've had the advent of these amazing, smartphones with cameras and the ability to take pictures of ourselves, it's been, in a sense, a narcissist's dream. But how much substance is behind these pictures that we see? How much of that person, how much are these beautiful women that take magnificently stunning pictures of themselves with fabulous makeup and hair and nails? How do they actually, manage with all of this? Because, I think why I thought about this was, of course, with what's happening at the moment. Because at the moment, we know that we have a situation where all the nail salons are closed. We have all the hair salons closed, so that most of us ladies cannot get our nails done. We cannot get our hair done. Now, for some of us, and I'm okay, it's not particularly bothering me at this point. Not to say it won't, but, I'll probably snip a bit of my own fringe off and get into trouble with my hairdresser. But I think it can be very hard for certain types of personalities, because if you are one of these ladies who sadly is caught in her own narcissism because she is misunderstood and she's craving for the attention from the public that she has not been able to get from mummy or daddy or others, it's going to be very hard for them. If they could use this to be constructive and really look, that's why I thought to do these 2 videos on narcissism, because it gives you an opportunity to sort of just have a look and understand it a bit better. And the thing is, if you really understand your narcissism, it doesn't mean that you can't have your nails done or your hair done or wear makeup. I put a little bit more on today because I wanted to illustrate the case. It doesn't mean we all have to go around looking like, we've just got out of bed, although some younger people can look very nice when they've just got out of bed. Sadly, they've not seen me, and I wouldn't do that to you all. But basically what I'm saying is it's about being able to be seen neat, to be seen metaphorically naked, and to find out that one can be loved, appreciated, respected for our nakedness. And this is not about, leaping around in the nude. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that we can show our true face. And when we start taking the risk to show our true face to the people out there, to the world out there, it gives you a freedom. It helps you relate, because what you're doing is you're actually learning to relate to yourself and love yourself. And love yourself basically warts and all. And you see, the interesting thing is that once we are able to love our own selves, warts and all, once we are actually able to look in the mirror and see the unmade up, tired, older face that looks back at us and actually think, hey, that face has been through it. That face has seen quite a lot. That face has certainly shows the experience of the life that face has led and the challenges this face has faced and surmounted. So I'm going to leave it there for today because hopefully this is some interesting food for thought for you. But, before you all rush back to the nail technicians and the hair salons, just think about why you do it. And as I said, it doesn't mean you can't do it. But the funny thing is, when we do it for the right reasons for us, because we enjoy it, it just gives us pleasure, and it's not for others, it's for us, then actually you're moving towards loving yourself and honoring yourself. And that's really what it's all about. Until we can have true, good, healthy relationships with ourselves and truly love ourselves, then it's very hard to have a true loving relationship with another. So thank you so much once again for listening, for your kind comments, for all the support I'm getting and the shares and the follows and the likes. It doesn't go unmissed and it really goes appreciated. And I endeavour, and certainly will, even if it's not straight away, get back to every single comment and message because it matters. It matters to me that people are acknowledged for their time and energy. And there won't be any more of these until the weekend. And at the weekend, it'll be something different, but it's actually going to have more of a Easter flavour to it because I think we need some light and some bright in all of this. So I didn't see the full moon last night, but I gather it was quite amazing. And I'm seeing some amazing pictures on Facebook. So I'm going to leap up or try and stay up long enough tonight to see if I can see it before I go to bed, which is usually very early. Anyway, have a fabulous day. Loads of love to you. Bye. Bye for now.